I have a problem with the world building of John Wick. Now, before you run to the comments and start typing in all caps, I want to preface this by saying I like these movies. I thoroughly enjoyed each and every one. And I know no one's watching 2.5 hours of Keanu Reeves doing gun fu for the world building, but it's been eating at me for a while now, and it's come to a head with the latest movie, but it might not be what you're expecting. You see, let's zoom out of John Wick to world building as a whole. General consensus is there are two types. Actually, it's more of a spectrum, but I'll get to that kind of worms later. Hard world building, soft world building. The former aims to immerse you in the details, the groundedness of it all. Things work logically. This place functions as if it could be real, and you as the reader can get attached to that, familiarize yourself with it. Hey, this super secret assassin coin is worth exactly X amount of dollars. Now, software building fits exactly what you think it would. It's a lot less concrete. There is a lack of knowledge, a lot more questions. You attach yourself to the tone, the atmosphere, it piques your curiosity, it draws you in. Hey, this gold coin is currency in our super secret assassin world. Don't worry about it too much. It's the difference between our suits aligned with a super thin experimental type of Kevlar that we invented versus this suit is about your size, I have a pump action. Do you really need any other explanation? I almost don't want to say it, but it uses pure vibes to immerse you, the Ghibli formula essentially. Now, I have a pretty big bias towards hard world building, but that's not my problem with John Wick. I'm just a nerd for that stuff. One style really isn't better than the other. Like with a lot of things in fiction, it's mostly about preference. What fits the story better? What does the writer want? What is the genre norm? Stuff like that. Writing is subjective. But when I come across a softly built world, it's mostly a breath of fresh air from the fiction I usually consume and write. And it was no different with John Wick. Chapter 1 was a masterclass in using mystery and intrigue to hook you. Make no mistake, this violent cousin was doing what Spirited Away did, weaponizing the stilled vibes to keep you glued to the story. Now let's bring back that concept of a spectrum. No single world is truly hard or soft, same as magic systems. There will always be trace elements of the other, a yin and yang. Some aspects of John Wick's world building are simply just explained. The two cardinal rules, all markers must be fulfilled and no business on continental ground lest incurring heavy penalties. Two things we can say is a constant. A softer side to the continental would be the fact that I have no idea how the hierarchy of this organization or anything works. So there's the high table, then there's the adjudicators, but then that one guy with the hat in chapter 4 isn't an adjudicator. Point being, I'm yet to come across a world that sits on either end of the spectrum. However, that distinction is still important because it helps us determine how this world achieves consistency. I've said it many times that I believe this is the secret sauce to world building. It becomes infinitely easier to immerse yourself in a world when there is something familiar to attach to. When things are consistent. Delete the paragraph you were probably just typing. I've also made the argument that we get immersed in some worlds because we don't know what to expect, because it's mystical, magical, unpredictable, and I'd slap you with the big emotional, thematic consistency. Logical consistency, the big hook of hard world building, isn't the only type there is. It's like a seesaw. You have to immerse your reader in some way, and the less of one you have, the more you have to lean into the others. If not, it just becomes like a flat piece of thing on the ground, or one of those janky ones that go all over the place. Maybe that's it. Maybe John Wick's seesaw is janky as all hell. There's no consistency, no harmony. It's the complete opposite. Almost every single aspect of John Wick's world building is trying to sell you on one or more of these three things. This world is incredibly dangerous, this entire organization is very secretive, cryptic, mysterious, and thirdly, we are far-reaching and ancient. Unconvinced, I present to you the special wheel of John Wick world building concept. So just give this a little spin and oh, look at that, we landed on bounties. When a bounty is placed on someone's head in this world, it is this whole process that seems to run on tech from the 80s. Typewriters, hardcover files, corkboards, and an otherwise very modern world. Surely there are more efficient methods than announcing your target in code over FM radio, but do any of those others achieve John Wick's style of consistency? Does it align with at least one of these three things? The bounty system's pretty much got the hey we're ancient thing covered. It's not so much the 80s tech as they seem to have a process. A 15 million bounty is business as usual. Hard world building would tell you how everything works, that the high table got their rise in the 80s, that we've been doing it this way for a long time and changing our process to fit modern times would be more work than it's worth. All John Wick does is give you a glimpse that sticks to the emotions and themes the story is trying to convey and then lets you infer the rest. It might not necessarily be this, but you will imagine something and you most likely do it in a way that fits those themes. That is the pull of software building. It's collaborative, it invites you to fill in the blanks, it gives you just enough details and everything you imagine after that is better than anything the writer could have given you. In a way, you know what to expect while knowing nothing at all. There is consistency, just a different type. And most stories won't play with that level of consistency. They won't change how they they immerse you, it's polarizing, right? That could be what's bugging me about John Wick's world building. It seems to get softer as the story progresses and John breaks more and more bones. I think that's partly owing to the fact that the creators never expected it to be a franchise, then it blew up and like 3 more movies materialized out of thin air. But I think the conscious decision also got made to just keep spamming the rule of cool. It's a cool concept, toss it in there. Feels like someone said, hey, see this whole mysterious assassin world that people like? Yeah, crank that up to 10,000. We're getting more questions without answers, we're seeing more and less of the world at the same time. Yes, we're technically learning, but they are new concepts bringing significantly more unknowns. Like once again, what is the hierarchy of this organization? Why is the elder above the high table? Why is every single soul an assassin? What other roles are there apart from harbinger and adjudicator? They're so epic. Someone in Discord was curious what other laws and clauses and subsections of the rulebook govern this world, of valid curiosity. By the way, join the Hermit Rider Cave, we need some fresh ink for the inkwell. Also, you probably still have time to read Howl's Moving Castle with us. They might haze you a little bit though. Ink for the ink god, quills for the quill throne. But after those first 2 rules Winston introduces, there is almost nothing else we truly understand. That's the conclusion I came to. That's why John Wick's world building irks me. It puts you on already shifty ground only to make you lose all of your footing in what you think you understand. It plays at a level of consistency. Except stories do that all the damn time. Worlds that get more concrete the further we go. Attack on Titan is a prime example. That's literally the plot. Learning more. It shifts from a world that grabs you with mystery and intense questions to one where you have an incredible overview of its true nature. John Wick is somewhat different in that I don't see too many worlds that get softer, less concrete as we go, but it doesn't equate to a lack of harmony. So what is it? Show of hands if you're not a big fan of midichlorians, or you have no idea what I just said. So Star Wars' beloved franchise has this scene in The Phantom Menace where the origins of the Force, this mysterious power that Jedi and Sith have, is explained, and fans did not like that. Why? I mean, it was doing what other stories were doing, immersing you with something solid, giving you more details. Stories play with a level of consistency all the time, right? Until I discovered that regardless of how a world chooses to immerse you, regardless of whether we get less or more concrete, you still have to maintain thematic consistency through it all. Just like no world is completely hard or soft, no world immerses you only one way or another, and I believe the key to shifting from a hard world to a softer one or the opposite is maintaining those themes. It's important that that logical explanation still fits emotionally and thematically. I think why people were so hot and bothered about midichlorians introducing a way to measure the Force is because it detracts from the themes already set up that the Force is this mysterious near sentient energy that permeates every living being. Yes, we do learn more about the world of Attack on Titan, it becomes more concrete, a lot more knowledge is introduced other than Titans, big, scary, and you look like KFC. But things are equally as bleak as when we started, if not leaning harder into those themes. Of course, that's the explanation. It's Attack on Titan. The big reveal is always going to be more suffering. The same goes when you're moving towards the other end of the spectrum, the world becoming softer. I've already said that John Wick's world building excels at that thematic harmony. Want to spin the wheel again? Roll a concept, any concept. Oh, the high table, the epitome of danger and the cryptic arts. We don't even know who half of them are, but we do know they're extremely dangerous and powerful. And almost every instance they get mentioned in always seems to go with, hey, they can fuck a lot of shit up, aligning with every other aspect. I feel like a crazy man pinning red strings to pictures on a board. I swear this makes sense. You see, I think I finally realized my issue with the world building of John Wick. I mentioned it spams the rule of cool, that things don't have to make the most sense if they're cool enough. However, for that to work, everyone interacting with the story has to agree the concept is cool enough to ignore the implausibility of it. Otherwise, you're just that person at the D&D table who thinks they're doing something, but they really aren't. The thing is, plausibility almost becomes irrelevant when that thematic consistency is there. It's easy to ignore the fact that things don't quite fit when they actually do fit, just in a different way. My problem with John Wick is that it understands that, and it damn near abuses it. I suspect the world will start to become a lot harder with everything scheduled for the franchise. Introducing new concepts so frequently should be a recipe for disaster, but it has worked so far because John Wick nails the atmosphere, the themes, the emotions of the story every single time. This idea of immersing the readers and audience with concepts other than the details of your world is something I discuss a lot more here, but these are just my thoughts at the end of the day. A theory. A writing theory. Okay, bye.